Hey everybody, I'm John. I collect cards. It is Sunday, December 17th. It's week 15 of the NFL season. If you are a regular viewer of my channel, first I thank you. And then secondly, you're probably wondering, what on earth is he doing here? Showing football cards? He never does football. And that's very true. I have, since I got back in the hobby a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, I've picked up maybe a dozen football cards of vintage to have for whatever reason, whether I picked up a dollar card here or there on eBay or a couple at an LCS. Just if something just jumps out and I find it interesting on a particular day, they're kind of more impulse buys than anything else. But I thought I'd show them here in this little video. We're in the throes of football season now. Playoff scenarios galore in the NFL. Bowl season just started yesterday, I believe. I was at a holiday party yesterday, and the NFL Network triple header was going, and bowl games were going, and so it was, it's sort of a figured, why not just do this little football video that I think I sort of hinted at a couple of videos ago when I shared this card. This Joe Namath top super glossy from 70 or 71. Tells you how much I know about vintage football when I can't even exactly remember the year this is from, which is somewhat embarrassing. But I think it's 71, or it's 71 or 70, one or the other. But since I just picked this up, I thought, you know what, I'm going to look up and dig out the few cards I have picked up of football of late. And actually what I have showing up here is, because I don't go to too many football games. It's pretty rare actually that I do, but these are two of the more interesting ones, or exciting ones actually, that I got to go to. I've been to one Notre Dame game at Notre Dame Stadium. It was against Western Michigan University in 2010, and as you would expect, Notre Dame, absolutely crushed. I can't even remember the final score, but I know they scored on the first play of scrimmage. So it's like, okay, this is gonna be an interesting game. It was just a joy just to be there, and it was one of those kind of like, it was a bucket list kind of thing. You mark it off of a sports fan's must do. That's one thing to do for sure. And then this game here from 2015, the Big Ten Championship between Iowa and Michigan State, was one of the most exciting sports events period that I've been to. It was a fantastic, close defensive battle that Spartans won 16-13, I think it was, but it was a super exciting game. So just thought I'd trot out those little two programs as a backdrop. But let me run through some of these other cards that I've kind of picked up along the way since I've gotten back in. I literally have just 11 cards to the show, and I figured that was and it's really about all I have in vintage football, but 11 on the field, so to speak. Here are a couple of Joe Namath's teammates from that Super Bowl III era. Jerry Philbin, John Elliott, defensive players. I believe this is 71 tops. Again, I don't have football sets fully memorized, but I think that's 71. And then a rival quarterback from that era, 1969 tops. I did look this one up. Len Dawson, pretty cool card here. Given that this was from the year the Chiefs won their first Super Bowl, Super Bowl IV. And what is really cool about this is that on the ball, you could catch the American Football League logo there. It was the final season of the AFL before the merger became official. So that's actually a pretty sweet card. And those rich colored backgrounds are just so cool on these cards. It's a great one, I think. And then I've got a few other ones here. A couple of Giants cards, New York Giants cards from the 50s. I think this is an absolute classic card just from the look of it. It's not very valuable. You could pick this up on eBay for like $5 even in a VG. I probably paid not much more than that at an LCS, maybe 10 I paid for this. It's 1956 Topps Alex Webster. It's actually his rookie card. Giants won the championship in 56, and Webster had a pretty solid career overall. He eventually became Giants head coach as well in the 60s, late 60s, early 70s, I believe. It's just such a great card, though. It's just, this was an example of something that just jumped out at me that day, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I've seen that card. I'm pretty sure that's an iconic kind of card from a well-known NFL player back in that golden age kind of era. Those Yankee Stadium, battles in the trenches and all that jazz. So I just think that's a really, really cool card. I see this card and I immediately think the following year when they lost the Colts in the first overtime game in the NFL. I mean, that name, Alex Webster, just kind of, brings me to that time. So I love that card. I'm going to keep that on the screen actually for a little while. And I actually have his teammate as well from 1959 Topps. I looked this one up as well to make sure it was 59, and it is. Frank Gifford. Just a really cool card. This one's actually in pretty good shape. I think I may have paid 15 for this one at the same LCS. It was like 10, 15, something like that. This one's a nice card as well. I think the colors are probably a little faded on it, and it's a little off-center top, but overall it's a pretty nice card. That Giants logo back in the day was just super cool. Should bring that back in some way. They got the NY thing going from the 60s, which they had on their helmets, I guess, too, maybe in this era as well, but I really like that kind of passing giant logo. It's really cool. Just like with the buildings in the backdrop. They need to bring that back in some fashion. I think that'd be well received. So, very cool card there. I'll leave that up there. And then, last thing I'm going to show here, and then we'll quickly wrap this up, is I bought a long time ago, probably within the first few months I got back in 2020 in the hobby, just looking around on eBay and getting acquainted. I found a lot of these 5-team cards from 1960 Topps, and I thought they were cool, and they were actually in pretty good shape. And I probably got them for, I probably got them for less than $10 for the whole lot, maybe less than $8 for all I know. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll get these. They look cool. So I have, completely random purchase. I have 5 team cards from 1960 Topps. So I'll just show them really quick. The Eagles won the NFL title in 1960. I believe it's Vince Lombardi's only loss in the playoffs as a head coach, I think. Pretty cool card here, and I like how you can clearly see some of the big players on this. So I know number 60, Chuck Bednarik, is right there in the back. Number 40 right here is Tom Brookshire. So Brookshire went on to have a pretty long career in the CBS broadcast booth. Before John Madden, Pat Summerall was teaming up with Tom Brookshire. And actually, Pat Summerall teamed up with other people even before Brookshire when he was first with CBS. But pretty cool card there. And then I got 4 other ones from here I'll run through real quick. I got the Browns card, 32. There's Jim Brown right there. So I get in focus. Focus, maybe? Good enough? Good enough. There he is. So it's just kind of cool to kind of see them in the distance. And I love that the Browns brought back the Brownie. I think that's what the kind of elf logo is called. Super cool that they brought that back this year right in the middle of their on the 50-yard line. Those nods of the past, I think the fans, they dig it. So it's good. It's good stuff. Here's the Lions card from that year. The one man I was looking for on here was Alex Karras. He's right there, number 71. Hall of Fame defensive lineman. And for you Gen Xers like me, probably have heard of him as the dad from Webster. And before that, he also was in Blazing Saddles. So he had a pretty good acting career after football, but a Hall of Famer at that. And then I've got the St. Louis Cardinals card from that year. These last 2 are actually from the second series of the set. This is the only one that actually is marked up on the back. And I'm not sure of any Cardinals actually of note on that team, of this team. So if there's any I'm missing on this one, please follow up on the comments. I'd love to know. And then the last card I have here is the 49ers card from that year. Two players that jump out here. And here's, by the way, a logo I have never seen for the 49ers before. So that's a pretty fascinating one there. Y.A. Tittle was the quarterback before he moved to the Giants. He was still with the 49ers at that point, number 14. And right behind him there, number 12, is their future longtime starting quarterback, John Brody. So, just pretty cool to kind of find those, all-pro, all-time great players in these vintage football cards. I just think that's pretty cool. So, that's all I wanted to show today, is just kind of, bring out a few classic football cards from back in the day. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.